afternoon. My name is Christy Dalton, and I am the Director of Sales and Marketing at Medcom. We'd like to thank those of you who continue to attend our educational webinar series and welcome those who are joining for the first time. A few housekeeping items. This presentation is being recorded, and we will distribute the recording and a copy of the presentation within the next week. You may ask questions throughout today's presentation in the questions panel of the GoToWebinar menu. Please feel free to stick around for the QA session following the presentation, as we will have time at the end to answer any questions submitted. We have an exciting topic today to discuss how Medcom Benefit Solutions can help you increase participation in your flexible spending account and other consumer-driven healthcare plans. Today's presentation won't take much of your time. We wanted to highlight how we can help you increase your FSA participation as you prepare for a busy fourth quarter and open enrollment season. We want to start by providing an overview about Medcom. We are a benefits administrator and consulting firm founded over 35 years ago. Our headquarters are located in Jacksonville, Florida, and we have a regional office in Atlanta. There are 5 distinct divisions that make up our services. The first is ACA Consulting, Compliance, Reporting, and Penalty Appeal Support. We also have divisions dedicated to health and welfare compliance and actuarial services, as well as HIPAA, privacy, and security services. Our final 2 divisions make up our administrative services and include fringe benefits administration, such as FSAs, HRAs, and HSAs, which we'll be discussing today. And our final division is COBRA and premium billing, which includes COBRA and retiree billing administration. So let's get started on our topic today regarding open enrollment. As you probably are aware, employees tend not to participate in benefit plans offered to them if they truly do not understand the value of that plan. It's our goal today to help you increase your FSA participation, and we're going to discuss our open enrollment campaign and how that's going to achieve some better results for participation in these plans. Based on consumer research, and you probably find this within your own employee base, employees are not very confident with their understanding of how their benefit plans work and the differences of the various options that they're given. Nor do they typically grasp how the pre-tax accounts are an advantage to them and the value that they bring. So with more education to employees, you can certainly get more employees to understand how these plans work and how they could truly benefit the employee for participating. Our goal is to directly support a communication strategy to inform your employees of the different plans, the consumer-driven healthcare plans that you offer, so that they can make a better decision on which plans they should enroll. And for those where they make an election, we want to ensure that they make the right election, that they're not over-contributing or under-contributing, so they can get the full tax advantage of these programs. As you probably know, with increased awareness and education on the employee's part is going to increase their enrollment. It's also going to empower them to really utilize their benefits in the best way that they're intended to be used. And all of that translates into higher employee satisfaction and retention. And as a bonus for the employer, it also increases FICA tax savings and assists with cost containment. So more education ultimately results in better employee satisfaction, and you're going to retain a lot more talented employees. After all, you are offering these benefits as an additional perk to attract those talented employees, the experienced ones, and you want to retain them. Now is definitely the right time to be considering an open enrollment strategy as we prepare for the busy fourth quarter season. We want to make sure that as we go through open enrollment, that employees truly do understand how to utilize their HSA, for those of you who have HRAs, and especially those with FSAs. And for the HSAs and the FSAs, employees want to make sure that they make those appropriate enrollment elections to avoid potential forfeitures, depending on how you arrange that program, so that they're better consumed employees on these programs. You probably know this as well from your own employee population. 3/4 of employees, of consumers across the United States, really want to get the best value for their healthcare dollars. As you know, premiums and out-of-pocket costs continue to increase as time goes on. You know, they want to get the best value for what they're paying for. It is typically pretty expensive to participate in your medical plan, for example, depending upon your options. And so they certainly want to make sure they're choosing the right choice for them. They definitely need help. Some additional statistics here. Less than a third of HSA account holders can actually pass a basic HSA proficiency quiz. So the majority of those that are actually enrolled in an HSA don't even truly understand the value of that HSA and what it is. 69% of consumers are confident they've maximized their tax benefit or health care savings. And that's actually a pretty high number, and they're very confident in that. But you can make that number go even higher. And 2/3 of consumers say they don't know how much they need to save in a given year. So that's really important, not only for health care, but also for future expenses. And that same rate of consumers also indicate that planning for their out-of-pocket costs is the most challenging and stressful aspect of healthcare. You know, trying to identify what are my out-of-pocket costs going to be, and comparing that to the medical plan for which they're enrolled. They can maximize their tax benefits and savings by enrolling in additional programs outside of the medical plan to really help them pay for these out-of-pocket costs on a pre-tax basis. So how can Medcom Benefit Solutions help you? We have a fully automated open enrollment campaign. It is directed to your employees. So we want to really educate your entire eligible employee population to support you in articulating the value of these benefit programs to maximize the participation, which is a win-win for both you and the employee. We're going to handle everything. I'm going to tell you in just a moment some information that we would have to gather from the employer, but it is an email communication campaign. We're going to create the emails. We're going to distribute them throughout open enrollment, and we'll talk about that in a moment, to all of your eligible employee population. We have web and landing pages that include resources for the employees. We'll also answer any questions that they have as well. So, you know, if they have a question about an FSA, why they should enroll, what are the benefits of enrolling in an FSA, for example, we're happy to help answer their questions. And that kind of takes some of the burden off of you, the employer, as well, in explaining how these benefits work to employees. So for the campaign itself, there's going to be a series of email communications. There's about 6 of them, and they do present calls to action for that employee. It also includes tools and resources to help them during open enrollment for their decision making. So it's going to give them some additional information to consider about their participation. If they're already participating, are you participating at the right election amounts? Could you potentially maximize some additional tax advantages? So these communications are geared towards the employee. Some of them are also geared based on their current enrollment. So, and we'll look at the communications in just a moment, but some of these are, you get one communication if you are enrolled versus you get a different communication if you're not enrolled. And that's to tailor those communications to the employees based on what they have or don't have already. All of this, again, is included in the email communication to help them understand, you know, basic terminology, to help diagnose their spending or savings needs. You know, you've got some employees that are spenders, you've got some employees that are savers. but it will help them really get a better idea of the right account to choose for them and their family and the different funding levels. Here's what the communication messages are all about. I mentioned earlier this is across an 8-week open enrollment period. If you typically don't have an 8-week open enrollment period, we can discuss that and kind of tailor the communications based on however long your open enrollment period may last. But the first one is typically sent 8 weeks prior to your open enrollment deadline. It's sent out to all of your benefit eligible employees, and it provides them with information on what they need to know in order to plan for their out-of-pocket health care costs. So that's where we start. The second communication is sent the following week, and this one is based on their enrollment in a consumer-driven health care plan. So whether it's an HRA, an FSA, an HSA, and for those not enrolled, it's going to help them understand the tax advantage accounts that are made available to them. For those that are already enrolled, it helps them determine if they're in the right account. So maybe they enrolled in a flexible spending account, the full purpose FSA, but they have options for HSA and a limited FSA. So it gives them a different, approach to kind of look at those different accounts that they can choose from and determine if they're actually in the one that's best for them and their family. The third communication is sent out the following week. This one is also geared towards their enrollment in a CDH account. And for those non-enrolled, it will help them determine an appropriate election amount. If they're not enrolled, maybe actually coming up with what their election should be is one of the challenges that they have. And we want to make sure that employees know the different steps in making a determination of what election they should choose. For those enrolled, it will help them determine if the amount that they have chosen in the past is the right amount. The fourth communication is sent 2 weeks after that one. This one goes back to the full audience, so all of your benefit eligible employees, and it gives them some questions that they should probably consider before they choose a health plan and an account. So things that maybe they didn't think about that they would want to consider and questions to ask before they actually make their final decision. The fifth communication is sent an additional 2 weeks after that, so we're about 2 weeks prior to open enrollment deadline. And it lets them know about saving for their future health care costs into retirement. That is one of the challenges that consumers tend to have. Very important as well. So that's a really good communication to send as we get closer to the end of open enrollment. And we've ended all, again, to the full audience of benefit eligibles about a week prior to the end of open enrollment to bring it all together and to give them reasons to take a more active role in their health care finances. An informed consumer is going to appreciate the value and the benefit options that they're given more so than someone who does not understand it. So in order to get started, it's a very simple process, and again, we're going to do all of the legwork. Of course, there is a little bit of information we'll need to gather from you first. You're going to work with your Medcom representative, which is typically an account manager or an account support specialist, in order to for us to prepare what we need to prepare for the communication campaign. At a minimum, we're going to ask you to provide for your entire benefits eligible employee population, regardless if they're enrolled in one of the plans we administer or not, their first name, their last name, their email, and any tax advantage accounts for which they are enrolled. And that's so we can tailor those couple of communications based on their enrollment in the program. Now, if you need any assistance with identifying what plans employees are enrolled in, if we are your FSA, HRA, or HSA administrator, we are happy to help you, and you can just give us employees' names and email addresses. And for those that we have enrolled, we can identify those. If we are not currently your administrator and you'd like to hire Medcom to be the FSA, HRA, or HSA administrator and implement this open enrollment campaign, those of you would have to certainly identify what plans those employees are enrolled in so we can tailor the communications. Again, we're going to manage this entire process. So we're going to be the ones initiating these emails based on the timeline that we talked about before, or a different timeline if we need to tailor it based on your open enrollment dates, just in the event that you have one that's less than 8 weeks. As many of you who offer an FSA plan know, it is truly a win-win for both employees and employers. You know, employees get the tax advantage for enrolling in FSA, for example. Employers get to enjoy the tax savings as well with your FICA taxes. We'd love to help you increase your FSA participation for your next open enrollment season. Just to give you a real-life example, Medcom actually ran this open enrollment communication campaign at our last open enrollment for our entire employee population. Our FSA participation grew 24% as a result of the open enrollment campaign. This is certainly available to any of the employers for which we administer these programs at no additional cost. There is no risk to you. But there is the benefit at the end for increased participation. It's going to translate into more employee goodwill. It's going to help you retain those talented individuals you have strived to attract with your benefit plan package. So please do reach out to us. We certainly want to help you out and grow your FSA plan at no cost to you. If you're interested in learning more and to implement the communication campaign, please do feel free to reach out to your account manager or your account representative for more details. They can set it up and walk you through the process and send you a template of that little bit of information that we'll need to collect from you. For those of you on the line who may not be a current FSA client, we'd love to help you out. You can give us a call at the number right there on the screen. You can also contact us at sales@medcom.net. We want to thank you for joining our webinar today. If there's anyone who has any questions, you may submit them in the questions panel of the GoToWebinar box. And as we're answering any that may have been submitted, if you have additional ones, please do feel free to go ahead and submit those. We do have a couple of questions. Looks like this one was submitted a little bit earlier. Just to remind everyone, there is no cost for the communication campaign. We're happy to do this, you know, just to help out and increase the FSA participation, increase education and awareness of the benefit programs that you offer. We truly do want to increase awareness amongst employees about how their benefits work and the advantages of enrolling in them. We have another question about the time frame. If we have a 4-week time frame, open enrollment period, how would that work? We could actually do that in a couple of different ways, and certainly we want to discuss with you what works best for you. But if you have a 4-week open enrollment period, for example, we could either, you know, some of those communications there's a couple of weeks before the next one goes out, so we can shorten them to send them once a week. Rather than skipping a week for those two that are skipped. We could also maybe potentially eliminate one of the communications, although that would not be our preferred method, just because they are all very informative for employees to receive and to learn a little bit more about their plans. But the goal is to really come up with a campaign that works for you as well. So you can let us know you know, based on a shortened time frame if that's what you want to do, and we can certainly work through that. That does appear to be all the questions that we have for today. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and feel free to contact us if we could be of any assistance. Thank you.